Yeah. So as I had told you what precedent is, so over here it says that a custom can supersede a precedent based law in its own value, right? Custom can have more weightage than a precedent based law. And why is that? Because there are two small reasons given in the first two lines. It says customary law cannot be prohibited by express understanding, and secondly it cannot be rejected by use also. Since custom is in practice, which means it will be used as a law in the coming time, and it cannot be prohibited by express understanding. If people are doing it for time immemorial and they wish to continue it in their lives, it cannot be prohibited. Hence, this is not the same case with the precedent based law. Precedent based law is a judge made law, and it can vary, right, on vary on a basis of nationality. Like say there is some sort of precedent law and it is being practiced in some or the other region, but and it's not practiced in the other regions, but then that is not the case with customs. Customs start with sects of people and it goes on and it is carried on by generations, and hence it cannot be, neither custom can be prohibited nor it cannot be rejected. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे कस्टम की एक बहुत वेटेज और बहुत हाई वैल्यू टास्क के बारे में बात किया गया है, दैट यू कैन नॉट, दैट पीपल फॉलोइंग कस्टमरी लॉज कैन नॉट click them away from their lives. They will use it, they will not prohibit it, and rather they will not reject it. Okay, the next point is, on satisfying the essential conditions, a custom works as a wellspring of law either for the whole network or for the regional segment wherein it works. Utilization just adds a term to its usage. अभी हम लोगों ने region की बात करी थी ना custom के लिए यहाँ ऊपर. So that is the same thing which is given here. On satisfying the essential conditions, when the custom meets, its conditions, whatever it's fulfilling, it works as a wellspring of law either for the whole network or regional segment wherein it works. तो सिंपल सा स्टूडेंट यहाँ पे सिंपल सा फंडा ये कहा गया है कि when a custom is taken up to be something that fulfills the criteria of being a law, it fulfills all the essential conditions, it becomes a complementary situation towards law. It complements the law that we are already abiding. तो कस्टमरी लॉ भी लॉ की तरह ट्रीट किया जाता है, and that is how the second part of the statement says it is used as a wellspring of law, right, for the whole network or for the regional segment, या तो पूरे नेट या तो पूरे देश भर में, or wherein the custom is practiced, any particular region. Last में it says utilization just adds a term. Is anybody saying anything? Acha. Okay. What I was saying that when a custom satisfies certain essential conditions and becomes more like a law, it starts complementing the legal system, right? Because the custom itself has become a law. So obviously it is going to be a wellspring of the legal system, and that happens in two ways, which is given in that happens in two areas which is given in your notes, either on a whole nationwide basis or the region where the custom was initially practiced. Simple. The last line says utilization just adds a term to its usage. This is something that you can just understand what's written. It's very simplified here. Next point is, a trade use need not to build up relic, consistency and repetition which are so necessary on account of custom. You can just learn this point and write it as it is. The next one, a custom emerges out of its own power, though use does not appear out of its own power, but rather is emerging out of an agreement between gatherings. At the end of the day, a lawful custom has its very own free and isn't an animal of understanding. Then again, a customary custom law or use does not exist or emerge out of any lawful specialist autonomously possessed by it. And then full stop, and then new sentence. It is formed out of mutual understanding between the people. So you know what is it saying here? The first line says a custom emerges out of its own power. which is really very true. A custom, for how long it has been practiced, gains strength among its followers and it becomes popular, right? But the usage does not appear out of its power. Like there is no point of us analyzing the usage of that. It only emerges out of its power. The more it's being practiced for years and years, the more powerful the custom gets, right? But rather is emerging out of an agreement between the gatherings. यहाँ पे students, between the gatherings का मतलब है amongst a huge lot of people. So a custom emerges out of an agreement amongst a huge lot of people. So when a lot of people agree upon a certain custom, it becomes, it emerges out, it regains its power. At the end of the day, a lawful custom is free, right? Free stand का मतलब it's free, it is not depending on any other law, or neither any other law depends on it. Maybe in future it does. Then again a custom, and then the last line is important here. It is formed out of mutual understanding between people. So all that the paragraph wants to say is that custom with its own practice becomes even more powerful. It's not something that emerges out on its own. Many gathering of people, many number of people practice it together, and that's how they give that power to custom. And then custom is a free free system thing. It takes up a free stand, doesn't depend on anything, right? Doesn't require a lot of ambushing of understanding. It goes on a very simplified basis, क्योंकि जिस तरह practice हो रहा है, आने वाली generation भी उसको उसी तरह practice करेगी till the government overtakes it. And lastly, it is formed out of mutual understanding among the people. It is not something that starts from one person. It starts from an understanding of n number of people, right? Types of custom beta सिर्फ तुम लोग की course में the names are supposed to be given. So I have given the names. Custom can be classified into two types: custom without sanctions, with sanctions. Further, customs with sanctions are of two types: legal and conventional customs. And then legal customs are of two types: general custom or particular custom. So we have studied customs in 2 chapters, and I hope custom as such कोई problem नहीं होगा. Usages of custom में students, is there any doubt, or should I start with legislation? Yeah, I'm coming. Yes, Kushi, I'll be coming to that. Any other problem, students, from the 6th point onwards? Anything that did not understand, didn't cross your mind? Okay, anyone else? Rochak, Bhumi, Piyush, Kartikeya, kindly switch on your webcam. Akarshan, switch on your webcam. Samriddhi, switch on your webcam. Kartikeya, switch on your webcam. See, Amit sir is also here in the group, but then I don't want that the teachers have to tell you all constantly to switch on your webcam. Samriddhi and Kartikeya, please switch on your webcam. Yes. But beta, I told this yesterday, right, that you're supposed to charge your devices and then sit down. So उस चीज़ को थोड़ा सा ध्यान में रखते हुए class attend करो. I know the devices can get discharged because you people are using it since morning for classes, but still keep a check on that. Okay, keep a power bank with yourself or something like that. All right. But don't plug in your phones and switch them on while using your headphones. Okay, if you're charging the phone, do not use them. Like, you can just use without earphones. All right. So Khushi, I'm going to come down to the first 3 points. Once we reach the end of today's class, let me just stay in the flow and we'll start with legislation. Okay. All right. The second point is legislation. All right. अच्छा, legislation का meaning the first line में लिख ही गया है. So legislation का क्या मतलब होता है? Legislation means the process of law making. Now see, the word is broken up in 1 or 2 segments and the meaning is given here. Always remember, as what Shanish said yesterday, this is Latin language, and I told you all yesterday that law uses till date law uses lot many terms that are Latin derived. All right. So it says here, legislation means the process of law making. Legis means law and Latin means making. Simple. And as a whole, it means law making. According to Sir John Austin, it means the making of law by a supreme or a sovereign authority. See students, do not get confused. The terms supreme and sovereign are 95% same. There's just a thin line difference when it comes to political science segregation. Alright. So, according to Mr. Austin, it means the making of law by a supreme or a sovereign authority which must be followed by people of every stratum of the society. Right? Which must be followed by the people of the country, and regardless of the fact that people belong to any class, status or anything. Alright. So this is the basic definition of legislation, if you get, where you can mention the Latin derivation and you can also mention the words of Mr. Austin, so that you can have an appropriation to your definition. You'll have, an exactness to your definition. Next up is, Salmon defines legislation as the process of law making by a competent and an able authority. Very similar to what we read above, but then adding up a competent and an able authority. Obviously, a supreme and a sovereign authority would be a competent and an able authority. Next line, legislation is the process of law making where a competent authority, now from here underline students, legislation is the process of law making where a competent authority is given the task of drafting and enacting the law in a state. Keep underlining. It is also said to be a strict concept of law making because there is only one body which is entrusted with the work of law making, and also there is no scope of alteration as such because of codified and watertight laws which leave a very minuscule range of the amendment. Alright, it's okay. From the second line, which is, it is also said to be a strict concept, it tells us about the logic behind it. But let me ask you people, alright, I'll pick up a name. Kritika, what does this line mean? Legislation is the process of law making where a competent authority is given the task of drafting and enacting the law in the state. What does this mean? Yes. Alright. And students, the best example here is the Constitution itself. Okay, write it in front of your notes. The best example is the Constitution itself. Why? Because as you all remember, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he drafted the whole Constitution of India, and at that time he was a part of the Parliament. So he also was an able and a competent authority, right? At that point of time. And that is why he got the duty of drafting, and he took the responsibility of drafting the Constitution of India. Now, as you can see, students, in the second line in the same paragraph, the hard part of the meaning begins. It said, it is also said to be a strict concept of lawmaking. And why is it a strict concept of lawmaking, students? See, because there is only one body which is entrusted with the process of lawmaking. Okay, students, one quick question. Which body, which organ of the government makes law? No. Legislature. Legislature is derived from the word legislation and you people, all of you are having a notebook right now. Kindly write the three organs of the government: legislature, executive and judiciary. Kindly write these three names. ये सबको पता होना चाहिए. Alright, legislature, executive and judiciary. These are the three organs of the government. Legislature is the lawmaker, executive is the body that executes and implements the law, and judiciary is the body that takes up judicial review. ये 3 चीज़ अगर तुम लोग को पता रहेगा तो यू विल ऑलवेज हैव a great knowledge about the segregation of the governmental organ system, the working of the parliament, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, सबको पता ही है. So these are the basic upper hand things that you will know, and you can always have a good conversation when when if any other teacher questions you up, you'll have a viable answer to give. All right. लिख लिया सबने? Avishi, kindly switch off your mic, beta. Like I can get a disturbance from your end. Alright, so I'm moving on with the next paragraph. Alright, no, there are certain things also given in this, given in this paragraph. Now, why does it say that there is a very small scope of alteration? ऐसा क्यों लिखा है कि उसको alter करने या amend करने के लिए बहुत छोटा scope दिया रहता है? Why does it say so? Rocha, can you give me an idea? No? Lotus? I'm saying it is mentioned, right, that there is a very small scope of alteration or amendment, right? In the second line after legislation paragraph, as you can see. Yes, so it says there is only one body and all. Yes, exactly. Once the laws get codified, right, once the laws get codified, the chances are reduced to change them on and on, right? एक law को अगर बना के codify कर दिया गया है तो altering it and amending it every month is a stupidity, which means the law itself was not that firm enough that it requires alteration every month, right? That is why it is already mentioned that there is almost no scope or very little scope in the alteration of laws once they are codified, and there is also very small room for amendment. For example, students, constitution के लिए तुम लोग ने एक चीज इस साल also write this down in your notebooks. The Constitution of India got amended. The recent amendment in Constitution of India happened in January 2020. Right? इतना लिख लो. The most recent amendment in the Constitution of India took place in January 2020. I guess the date was 25th of January. You can check it on the internet, or I'll check it and I'll let you know all. And after the class, I had asked you all to find the meaning of Uniform Civil Code, which I will take up later on. So I have not forgotten about that. Okay. Moving ahead. Alright, moving ahead, we have definitions by Salmond and Austin, and I'm sure that you people can go through it on your own. So I'm not going to go through that. I'll directly jump to the topic, which is types of legislations. Right? Now, types of legislation. The first one is supreme legislation. The second one is subordinate legislation. By name itself, तुम लोग को आधी चीज समझ में आ गई होगी that one of the legislation talks about a higher authority legislation, lawmaking, and the other one talks about a lower authority body and lawmaking. Okay, supreme and subordinate. All right, is everybody getting the gist of the chapter? किसी को कोई confusion है अभी तक legislation में या कहीं भी? Please be honest with me, because if I keep moving with the chapter and the majority of the class says yes sir, the ones who have problems in the chapter would be left out. So please let me know if you have any doubts as such. No? Should I move on? Watertight means something that is, after being codified, it becomes very strict and firm, right? The room for improvement, or the flexibility to change it's very less, right? Something which is watertight, it's more like a word like airtight. Airtight containers, पता है ना? It creates vacuum that no air from the outside can go and ruin the edibles kept inside. So watertight is something that is very tightly packed, very tightly made, and changing it, and room for flexibility and changes are not given. That is watertight. Okay. All right. Okay. So supreme legislation says the supreme legislation is the legislation adopted by the sovereign entity of the state. Students, again kindly note, sovereign means the supreme authority in the state, and by state here we mean the nation, the country. I told you, right, that state can be used as country as well. Okay. The term state can be used for Uttar Pradesh also, and it can be used for the country India also. As we say, United States of America. So obviously it's a collection of states. So altogether USA itself is a state, a big state. So similarly in that kind we call a country state also. Okay. So supreme legislation is legislation adopted by the supreme most authority of the state. In this manner, some other authorities which are the organ of the state cannot control or check it. It is considered incomparable as well lawfully powerful. An established piece of this rule can be found in Dicey's book, Mr. Dicey's book, The Law of Constitution. Students, read again, kindly mark the second line. In this manner, some other authorities which are the organ of the state cannot control or check it. और तुम लोगों को पता है यहाँ पे किसकी बात हो रही है? मैंने 3 organs of the government लिखवाया था ना, legislature, executive, judiciary. तो यहाँ पे एग्जीक्यूटिव और जुडिशरी की बात हो रही है कि जब लेजिस्लेचर लॉ बना देता है तो वो 2 बाकी डिपार्टमेंट जो हैं वो लॉ बनाने में कोई भी तरह का अपनी तरफ से कोई आइडिया नहीं डालते हैं. जब लेजिस्लेचर का काम है लॉ बनाना, तो ओनली लेजिस्लेचर वुड मेक लॉ, right? Executive's work is to implement and execute that law. Executive will do that later, and judiciary has the work for judicial review. That will be done later. So all these organs of the government, they don't interfere in their works, right? They don't interfere in their works. This is given here in supreme legislation, what we just read. Next point, subordinate legislation. Subordinate legislation will be legislation by some other authority than the supreme authority, right? So जो supreme legislation की first line है उसका opposite लिखा है, that subordinate legislation is some other body apart from the supreme authority. It is made under the powers designated by the supreme authority. For example, अगर supreme court high court को बोलता है कुछ करने को, तो high court will fall under subordinate legislation and supreme court will fall under supreme legislation. Okay, the higher the body, it becomes the supreme legislating body. The lower the body, it becomes the subordinate legislating body. Okay, such legislation owes its reality, legitimacy and continuation to the supreme expert. It can be cancelled and abrogated any time by the power of the sovereign authority, and therefore it must offer an approach to sovereign legislation. Subordinate legislation is liable to parliamentary control. Students, यहाँ पे simple सी चीज़ ये दी गई है that subordinate legislation is the kind of legislation which is done by any other body but the supreme authority. Supreme authority का यहाँ कोई लेना देना नहीं होता है. और क्यों कोई लेना देना नहीं होता है? Because the supreme authority itself has delegated all the powers and duties to subordinate bodies that जाके law बनाओ in this particular sector, right? If a particular national body cannot work in a particular sector, वो अपने state उत्तर प्रदेश फॉर एग्जाम्पल इंडिया की एक एनवायरमेंटल से रिलेटेड बॉडी है, एनवायरमेंटल अथॉरिटी से रिलेटेड बॉडी है, राइट? उसको एनवायरमेंट से रिलेटेड न्यू लॉज बनाने हैं उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए, बट दैट एनवायरमेंटल अथॉरिटी फॉर द नेशन इज वर्किंग फॉर द होल कंट्री. दे माइट नॉट हैव टाइम टू लुक इनटू उत्तर प्रदेश मैटर. तो वो उत्तर प्रदेश की एनवायरमेंटल अथॉरिटी बॉडी को बुलाएंगे, मीटिंग करेंगे, एंड देन the national authority will tell the state authority that kindly make such laws for your state of Uttar Pradesh. तो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है? यहाँ पे national authority जो थी, जो supreme थी, it delegated its power to the state authority, to its junior body that kindly go and make laws, because the national authority did not have time or any sort of resource to make laws for Uttar Pradesh, right? So supreme और subordinate यही होता है. तुम लोग अभी for example class 11th में हो, तुम्हारे seniors 12th में है, right? तो जब क्लास 12 के बच्चे कैप्टन बनते हैं तो क्लास 11 के बच्चे वाइस कैप्टन बनते हैं, राइट? सो सिमिलर मैनर, कॉलेज कैप्टन इज द सुप्रीम अथॉरिटी एंड द कॉलेज वाइस कैप्टन इज द सबऑर्डिनेट अथॉरिटी. ओके, College head prefect is the supreme authority. College vice head prefect is the subordinate authority. Okay, got it? जिस दिन कॉलेज कैप्टन एब्सेंट होता है उस दिन कॉलेज वाइस कैप्टन फ्लैग होइस्टिंग कराता है प्रिंसिपल और चीफ गेस्ट के साथ. यू मस्ट हैव सीन दैट, राइट? Whenever the captain of the team is absent due to illness, the vice captain of the team shows up, right? Because he is the subordinate authority. कैप्टन उसको एक दिन पहले फोन करके बोल देगा, आई एम नॉट कीपिंग वेल, काइंडली लुक आफ्टर द टीम टुमारो, आई शैल नॉट बी देयर फॉर टुमारोज गेम. So what happens here is that the captain, being the supreme authority, has delegated his powers to the subordinate authority, which is who? The vice captain. Okay? Any doubt? Any problem? एक बात हमेशा याद रखना, but the laws made by the subordinate authority are still under the remarks of being changed by the supreme authority. ऐसा नहीं है कि subordinate authority ने अगर कुछ बना दिया तो वो final है. It can be changed by the supreme authority. All right? There are still certain students who have switched. There are many students who have switched off the webcam. Kindly switch on the webcam. I can see all of you on the screen. शनिश, समृद्धि, रोचक, पीयूष, तुम, आकर्षण, कार्तिकेय, भूमि. वीकेंड नहीं है आज, वेंसडे मिड वीक है, सब लोग चिल कर रहे हैं घर पे. नहीं, अभी क्लास खत्म हो जाए उसके बाद करना. अमित सर, Sir, I guess one or two students might be having internet problem because the list has decreased. The number of participants, they were 20 and it's 18 now. I guess there's some problem there, because the students here also, it's very difficult today. There is some problem with internet. A couple of students, their video is coming out fine, but some of the students, उनका video में बहुत problem हो रहा है. I guess they might send another request to get admitted in the room. हो सकता है. Okay, sir. Okay, students. So the next topic is advantages of legislation as a source of law. First is abrogative power. Second is effectiveness. Third is declaration. Fourth is reliance on accidental legislation. Fifth is unrivaled in form. The first one being abrogative power, which says it can change or annul old law whose control isn't controlled by different sources. In simple words, abrogative power की वजह से legislation can change or strike down an old and a useless law. Simple. Okay. Second point, effectiveness. It separates the elements of making law and overseeing it between the legislature and legal executive. Third, declaration. It gives that principle of law will be known before they are authorized. So it also declares something about the law before it is even in power. Alright. Fourth, reliance on accidental legislation. Legislation is independent and emerges out of as the authoritative source of law. It need not hold up the original case of legislation. For example, there can be something that can emerge out through the authoritative source, and it might not be something that comes out of the original legislation. It comes out, accidentally. By making some other law, you make some other law, and it also, seems to be in a good state of power. That is the same thing. Unrivaled in form. It is predominant in structure, brief, clear, effectively available and understandable as against case law. ये 5 points तो काफी simple जहाँ तक मुझे लग रहा था है. Is it good enough for you people, or do you need explanation on these 5 points? पांचों point ये जल्दी से एक बार देख लो. If there is any doubt, I'll let you know. The last point, unrivaled in form. Unrivaled in form, which means when a law is being made, it is presumed that it will be predominant in structure. Predominant means it will have, a dominance effect on the other laws, as in if it is made as a head law, if it is an important case law, it will have a pretty effective working criteria on things, right? It is brief, it is clear, it's effectively available, and it's understandable as against case law. For example, a new law that has been made and it has to be brought in light or in contrast with any ongoing case, it is easily understandable there, and it is easily effectively available also. Okay. Point number 4. Reliance on accidental legislation. Legislation is independent. ये first part समझ जाओ. Legislation is independent. Next part, it emerges out of as the authoritative source of law need not hold it up against the original case of legislation. What happens is, because legislation is independent, it emerges out of the authoritative source of law, right? Like the authority, the supreme authority will make it, and from there only the law emerges out. अभी हम लोगों ने ऊपर पढ़ा था ना कृतिका, if you are following up, we read about supreme and subordinate legislation. तो ये दोनों जो supreme और subordinate legislation bodies हैं, ये authoritative source हो जाएगी हमारे law के लिए. So the law is going to emerge out of those two authoritative sources, and the latter part of the sentence means it need not hold up until the original case of legislation, right? So until and unless the original case of legislation is brought into light, it's not held up. It can be used as a law because it has emerged out from an authoritative source. यहाँ पे यही कहा जा रहा है कि even at the need of an hour, a law can be emerged out, and it can be used until and unless the original case of legislation comes into structure. Okay. See, the sentences might be small, but might be a little complicated at times, but then you can also break down those sentences and write it in your own words. I don't mind that, because the answer has to have a correct logic. It doesn't, I don't think language would be a problem. You have to just write the correct logic which is supposed to be there. Okay. Second point, effectiveness. It separates the elements of making law and overseeing it between the legislature and legal executive. यार इसमें क्या समझना है? This is like, see what is the first part of the sentence. It separates the element of making law. Why is it effective? Now this is the question here. Because it separates the element of making law. Law making elements are supposed to be very important because they are working upon something very grave. Law बनाना मतलब, since we are going through the chapter, so it seems law बनाना बहुत easy है, ऐसा है वैसा है, but then law making is one of the toughest things that a parliament comes across, right? So many bills are passed, so many debates happen, parliamentary debates, so many speeches go on from this source and that source. So the important thing is that element of making law is separated, and overseeing it between the legislature and the legal executive. Now legislature is the body that makes the law, and legal executive is the body that implements that law, right? So that it's basically saying that it's important that it separates the element of making law and overseeing the fact that there's a difference that lies between the legislature and legal executive and their functions. Okay. Anyone else? What are the I cannot hear you. All right, we'll take up let me just see what topic comes ahead, and then I'll take your doubt. Okay, we'll do precedent and then we'll end the class, because after precedent only the last part of the chapter is left, which will be covered by tomorrow. So let me read precedents. Precedents are the primary source of law these days. They tend to strengthen the laws and judicial system of the country and help us to remove the formation of the laws of country and make them suitable according to the situations. but the basic problem in its application is the unavailability of proper record for its effective implementation, improving which will improve the situation and make the system more flexible. So students, यहाँ पे कहा जा रहा है that precedent is the or was the primary source of law. So basically it says these days, so which means precedent is the primary source of law these days. And what does it do and help? They tend to strengthen the laws and judicial system of the country. तो precedent बताया था ना सबको मैंने, केस लॉ होता है, जज मेड लॉ होता है, राइट? जज जो एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट केस पे डिसीजन देता है, उसको लॉ में जब कन्वर्ट करते हैं और जब उसको एज लीगल रेफरेंस लेते हैं तो उसको हम लोग प्रीसिडेंट कहते हैं, राइट? इसको प्रेसिडेंट नहीं कहा जाता है, द प्रोनाउंसिएशन इज प्रीसिडेंट, ऑलराइट? एंड एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज दी हुई है, सेकंड लाइन में देखो क्या लिखा है, एंड हेल्प अस टू इम्प्रूव द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ लॉज ऑफ द कंट्री एंड मेक देम suitable according to situations. So precedent का एक बहुत important function ये लिखा है यहाँ पे, that even that it helps to improve the formation of laws, it also helps us that those laws are available at certain situations where we need it the most, right? सिर्फ law बना देना, एक precedential law बन गया है, right? और वो available है, but वो available अपने सही time पे है कि नहीं, that is something that matters. Right? A precedent is a kind of law that is made available for the country, and it is made available in suitable situations also. Right? When a child is playing cricket, the main necessity while playing cricket is to have a cricket bat in his hand, right? So that is the suitable situation where he'll carry a cricket bat. अब वो football field पे तो cricket bat लेके जाएगा नहीं. To make himself look like a fool, because laws when they are not used makes the legislature looks like a fool, because laws are basically needed to be there where they are needed. अपनी ज़रूरत के हिसाब से laws को available होना is one of the most important elements of the legislature. That is why law बनाने में legislature को इतना ज़्यादा time लगता है. लोग सोचते हैं कि यार एक तो law बनाना है and people are passing bills and then it's not getting attested, क्या बेवकूफ़ी हो रही है. But then the main priority here is that the law should be effective and available whenever it is needed, and that is the problem, that it takes up so much time to make a law. All right? Okay, so as per the homework, I'm going to ask you people to just go through the history of precedent that I have given in one paragraph. Okay? All right? अच्छा, कल मैंने यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड पूछा था, कोई पढ़ के आया है? किसी को पता है? टेल मी. Lotus, your voice is cracking very much. चलो कोई नहीं. Piyush, are you also trying to say that you're going to tell me? Or Piyush is trying to leave the class basically. Who? Avishi, tell me. Yes. So यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को कहते हैं कॉमन सेट ऑफ लॉज, कॉमन सेट ऑफ पर्सनल लॉज दैट आर अप्लाइड टू. और तुमको पता है यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड इज अप्लाइड व्हेन देयर इज नीड ऑफ इट टू बी अप्लाइड. अच्छा, whoever how many of you have legal practitioners in their families? किसके घर में advocates हैं? Avishi, I can see the library of books behind you, so I know. Anyone else? Rochak? No, who was that? Lotus? All right. तो जिसके घर में lawyers हैं, ask them कि यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड क्या होता है और कब इफेक्टिव होता है. उसको हिंदी में आचार संहिता भी बोलते हैं, आचार्य संहिता. All right. I know it's a very weird Hindi term to you all. But then ask your parents or your elders what uniform civil code is, and they'll tell you, and when it is used. All right. Shania, did you get the notes and the printout? Do you have, and other students printout मिले सबको? All right, perfect. And Shania, was that you who got disconnected in the class a while back? Or did you miss out on anything? Any topic? Okay, and let me know tomorrow. And all the students who get disconnected in between, just like what happened with Shania and Samriddhi yesterday, kindly whatever is left out, let me know in the next class. ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ छूट गया तो I'm not going to guide you through that. I'll help you with that, and so that you people are very well aware with the chapter. And आज के चैप्टर में किसी को ऐसा कुछ है अभी तक जो लेजिस्लेशन कस्टम प्रेसिडेंट में कुछ समझ नहीं आया? All okay? चलो ठीक है, that's perfect then. So tomorrow 10 a.m. is the class. Okay, so we'll catch up tomorrow, and most probably we'll be done with the chapter tomorrow, and after that, one day after that, we'll do a revision of this chapter. Okay, सबके सारे doubts clear हो जाएंगे. Khushi, I'm so sorry I could not take up your doubt. Tomorrow, first thing before starting the class, I'm going to take up your doubt. Okay, so that अगर बाकी students को भी अगर होगा अगर problem तो I'm going to take up the doubt, and it's okay, you're welcome. And the other students also, if you have any doubts, kindly keep marking them in your books. Alright, so okay, I won't take up much of your time. You people can take a leave. Have a good day. Bye bye.